They'll be calling you a radical. This could be the most important video that I've ever done. Ever. Remember when the salmon used to look like that in 2010? Yeah. In 2010. Yeah. 4/17/2010. So, all you guys that are covered up Fukushima, here's your merit badge. And so when you get, the doctor looks you right in the eyes like they did me in the early fall of 2011. Blanch predicted all this, and I don't do opinion. I don't literally eat, sleep, drink the Fukushima disaster and cancer. I sleep with it. When a doctor looks you right in the fucking eyes and says, get your affairs in order, maybe 2 months, if that, which they did in the prime of my life. And they ship you off to a bone marrow, acute radical bone marrow transplant center, and you enter on 11/11/11. Oh my God. I don't think anybody has any fucking clue what the fucking can't. You hand them your fucking merit badge, and fucking creeps. The whole industry, what a bunch of creeps. When Fukushima happened, I knew. I did the due diligence at the #1 school business in the United States, blackballed for taking on the nuclear industry. Who knew that the American populace has absolutely no fucking interest in their own health, their own well-being, let alone the animals, let alone the ecology, let alone their neighbors, let alone their friends, let alone their grandchildren? Who knew they didn't give a fuck? Who knew they have no clue about the truth? I did. Because I'll tell you why. I studied Semmelweis when I was young. I'm like, what? They didn't care. He's trying to save their very own lives, which he was doing. The same people who's saving their lives threw him in a mental institution, beat him to death. This is the hate they have for new knowledge. This is the hate they have for what's uncomfortable. This is what the hate they have for the truth. So this study's out. I can't believe I didn't find it till yesterday. Found it on Earth Day. Well, the day after Earth Day, really. I can't believe somebody didn't send it to me. Well, I ain't gonna quit you. It's like fighting cancer. This is, you're relentless. You never take. That's the way you have to fight cancer. There are no fucking days off. When the doctor uses the word acute on you. So this study's right here, Kevin Blanch. So I predicted all this. The heat dome of the. I actually predicted the drought ending 2 years ago. The same guy that named the drought, disgraced drought 1,200 years, the heat bubble over the western United States, a.k.a. Fukushima. How about the fires I predicted? Simultaneous, first time in recorded history. The salmon collapse, the wells, all of it in symphony. The wasting disease, the blob, Kevin Blanch first on everything, the greatest scientist in modern history, bar none. All 2011. Scientists are mystified, they're baffled, they're stumped, they're curious. It's going to give you cancer. It's going to give you cancer. The day it happened, right there. Out of my mouth, into my ear. I have AML de novo with a marker of 44. That's absolutely unsurvivable in 2011. The greatest leukemia case probably in American history was in the room next to me. Marshall Jensen, look him up. He was the first one on Earth. We made the decision on the bone marrow transplant the exact same day. I got to tell this story because I always forget. So he's 27 years old. So he decides to have the transplant. He's got a young child. I'm too sick for a transplant. I'm going to go walk the coast of California, most likely die out there. The chemo and everything, my platelets aren't recovering. There's no way I'm going to get through a transplant. I didn't think. We're ready for it, almost ready for it. Marshall had the transplant, didn't work. So he's the first group, MD Anderson, who's now at Scribble. So they took him into Austin in a group of 25 and used an experimental transplant round two didn't work. So there was a doctor in, of all places, Bear Monsanto land, St. Louis, who was experimenting with the human genome on the HIV, the AIDS. Remember when that was first originally, people feared that it was contagious leukemia? The leukemia genome and the AIDS genome mirror each other. Almost every person that gets diagnosed with AML leukemia, especially in the day, would be, lots of times it would be diagnosed as AIDS. So he was experimenting, fighting fire with fire. Believe it or not, I mean, you cannot make that up. He got it. So he come up with this method to use that to fight it. Looks like it's working. Gets fast tracked. So I believe this is, 2014 or 15-ish. 14, I believe. Marshall's the first one in the world to get it. All the media's up here on the hill doing all these big parties and yay, Marshall Jensen coming home. Okay. I'm in New York fighting the nuclear energy bailout. Well, fighting the whole dynamic, fighting the Fukushima cover. I have to get a little flight to Philadelphia to get a connecting flight. I'm in Philadelphia of all places. What a weird connecting flight. I've never took that connecting flight ever. It's always Chicago or somewhere like that. But the only time I've ever had that connecting flight in my life, and I've flown to New York so many times, it's unbelievable. I'm sitting there and I look over and I'm like, there's Marshall Jensen's family, his people. I don't know where they're, and I'm like, what the hell? And they're like, what the hell, Kevin? And they're like, don't you know? I said, don't know, I know what? Marshall Jensen's getting the thing here. Huh? What's the odds so surreal. Marshall died. His wife says it's working now. Talk about a pioneer. This study's saying exactly what I said to a T. It's saying the mean of AML leukemia was constant. Constant with the population, constant with the earth poisoning, constant. Till the great outlier, you got it, 2011. We know the plume from right here directly. Hammered. I was working in South Ogden, Utah. I was on a roof. My attorneys. Just got a stomachache one day. What the fuck? Misdiagnosed over and over, dropped. Went from 170 to fucking 130 pounds in days. Misdiagnosed. I saw some of the greatest quacks in human fucking history. Finally, this guy's going to gut me. I refuse the surgery. I'm fading away. I'm in so much pain. The University of Utah, those dirtbags, the Huntsman, oh my God. They're still to this day, after all these years, trying to sue me, destroying my credit for $1,200 for a phone call. Finally, Vincent Hansen, who I've known since I was a kid, saved my life, got involved. This Fakar guy wanted to gut me. Come on, I said, you're not doing that. My uncle, the heart surgeon, told me, don't let him open that. You're going to die. Let's bone marrow biopsy you. In through my hip. Whoa. That's one of my goals in life, to never have another bone marrow biopsy. He said, go home. I'm going to call you in a couple of days. The next day, the secretary calls me. Kevin, I watched my father die of this disease. Nuked to death in the Nevada test site. And this is important because my father's family, big family, he was one of these beasts. He reminded me of Pat Tillman in so many ways, physically and mentally. He never had a cold in his life, never had a cavity in his life. He was one of those just beasts. I don't ever recall him having a sick day in his life. And then one day, he got stung by some bees. Something really radical, acute plastic mowed him down and killed him so fast in the prime of his life. None of his brothers and sisters, none. Many of them are still alive, well into their 90s. No cancer, 0.0 cancer. I came home, made kids. Then I get it. I was working right here. We know the plume happened here. So the great outline of this study saying that all changed when? 2011. Probably the most important video I've ever done. You know, all my work, the tide pool collapse. Oh, it's just wasting disease, 2011, 2012. Oh, it's just the salmon collapse, 2011, 2012. Chinook will collapse in 2016. They go to see the wells. Oh, now everybody agrees with you. You're right. Blanch was right the whole time. It was a starvation event. The blob on the first one report, you could see it. Remember, I'm in critical condition working up down the coast of California, dying. Everybody's like, you can't go out there and walk the coast of California. Everybody at the hospital, LDSC State. Fimbo's like, Finno Peters from Copenhagen is my doctor. I mean, he put so much work into me. He saved my life. You know, I don't know how I didn't die in there. No pigment in my eyes, blisters on my tongue. I have 4 tattoos up. I mean, we were talking about radiation yesterday. I was Dr. Thompson's very last patient. He's not a fan of radiation, Fimbo. He says, but we needed to get just a little bit. He says, as long as he do it. You know, when I had the open heart surgery again for the second time, Dr. Goff says, I saw the tattoos on you while I was, you know, tearing you open. I saw the, you know, the big scar tissue all over in your lungs. But I read the report that scar tissue was there the last time we opened you up like that. In 2017, that never worked. Kept telling him, my valve, the chemo accelerated. So I run into this beautiful, incredible young woman. I've got a flat tire 6 years ago yesterday. My gallbladder ruptured from the chemo. Mike Lee kicked me out Medicaid. Now remember, I was a millionaire, self-made for the second time, right here on YouTube. I was doing videos financially, telling you when everybody was going all mad, gold and silver. I'm like, get out, you buy the market, buy the market. The market was less than 10,000 in 2011. Buy all the Apple you can get. Go all in Apple, everything you get. Go in all Tesla IPO, go all in. All that. I mean, they were playing my videos at Cal Berkeley, the finance professor. This kid called me, he says, you changed me and my grandfather's life. I had to beg him and make him watch your videos and to sell our silver and gold and buy Tesla. You changed our lives. I said, well, you can send me a tip. Never send me 5 cents. This greed, this selfishness, plague of America that somehow they think money is their wealth. They're willing to trade in their health for somebody they've never met. It's wealth, the earth poisoning maniacs. The greatest crime in human history, the cover-up of Fukushima. Here it is. Everything I hypothesized, everything I said. My doc, you go ask Bimbo. HIPAA laws, the HIPAA laws don't apply to me. I could talk about my own case all the fuck I want. It's my case. Kevin, all my years as a oncologist, I've never seen an outbreak like that in the fall of 2011, summer of 2011. Never. You know how many famous cases were in that hospital with me? Nancy, the world-class freaking triathlete. I'm like, she moved to Moy. I said, you know, right? You know, Carla, Kevin and Carla, they call this. What a tragedy. A beautiful, incredible young woman died. You know, I go on and on and on about that group that was in there. All died. Vicious. You know, doctors and nurses, I'm in there. I basically lived there for 5 years, off and on, mostly on the first go around, quarantined in there pretty well every day for months and months, and well, nearly a year. You know, I call myself the 2012 San Francisco Giants. Why? When it looked like everything was failing on me, I'm in the hospital, and this baseball metaphors matter. The San Francisco Giants, the greatest comeback in sport history. And if you don't believe that, you weren't paying attention. There's never been a comeback like that in sport history. Ever. I see Tim Litzcom's wife died of this disease, this outbreak. So, and we deny where it come from. The 2012 San Francisco Giants in the divisional playoffs, the first 2 games at home, they lost a 5-game series. They got to go to Cincinnati. In game 3, that's the day I was almost dying in the hospital in October of 2012. I mean, it looked like it wasn't working, whatever. We're going to take one more chance. Let's bone marrow biopsy you again for the umpteenth time and see. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm watching the game. They're beat. No offense. They cannot get no offense. He's pitching a gem on them. Basically both pitchers have one hitters going. You know, the game goes into extra innings, 0-0. You know, Pence up against the fence, you know, the whole thing. Somehow play at the plate, they throw him out. Just defense, like I am. I'm playing defense. Survive to fight one more day. Somehow they pull off a miracle. In 10 innings, I think they got 2 hits the whole game and win. Then you move into the next day. I'm in the hospital just so sick, it's unbelievable. You know, Lincecum's on the hill. Freaking Those look like no way. They were down in the middle innings on the road. Oh, they come back and win. They finally get some offense. They win 3 in a row on the road. Then they're down 3-1 to the Cardinals. Come back, win, sweep the series. Kevin Blanch, the 2012 San Francisco. Miracle comeback. Miracle. I was going in and out of a coma in there. The only reason, Vincent known me since I was a kid. That's the only reason Finbo took me. He says, a guy this age with this type of disease, AML de novo, with a marker of 44, there's no way you're surviving. He says, no, I think this guy can do it. I've known him. He's a beast. He's a beast. So they put so much work into me. I told him I was going to go walk the coast of California, and they're like, you'll die out there. Yeah, I know. What a good place to die. With the rest of them that are already dying. The seals, the sea lions, the whales are all dying. I'm no different than they are. I'll die with them and drip into the sea, Jeffers. Ooh, what's that smell in Carmel? It's a dead whale. I'm out there walking the coast. All these so-called other activists who are coming to me. Free radicals post-ignorance. They don't realize I'm a Kruger. They steal my radio show. Talk about the betrayal. Oh, yeah, we'll have you on the show every week. Here's Alex Jones and Jeff France put my typo videos on their site. Right below it. Buy your Patriot gear marked up thousands %. It came out in the trial. They were making millions and millions and millions of dollars on my bit. Neither one of them ever sent me 5 cents. I didn't have enough money for food. I don't know how I didn't lose my house. I was a millionaire, remember? Wiped out. I had to fork over every penny to get in. Then I got put on Medicaid. Mike Lee kicks me off Medicaid. And this is the irony of it. He kicked me off Medicaid the day before I'm scheduled for the chemo took out my gallbladder. I run into this young woman yesterday. She's incredible, beautiful. I'm changing a tire, and this young man comes up. Can I help you? And blah, blah. And I couldn't find the lug, the diversion wrench. So I got to see him. And I said, who's your dad? He told me his dad's 64. And who is he? And he told me, I said, oh, I know that guy. Yeah, he had to fall off the ladder. I said, you go get in there and take care of him. I'll get this handled. I got a pacemaker. So I get it handled. I find it and change the tire. Going in to see my pacemaker on the exact day that my gallbladder ruptured, from 6 months to the day. My gallbladder, I don't know, I almost died on that because they refused to do surgery because Mike Lee kicked me out again. I was wiped out. I went from a millionaire to my uncle used to say, I've never seen anybody go from that to that in such warp speed in my life. And I says, well, that's called AML leukemia. Brutal. Here's this study right out in your face saying exactly, these are called outliers in science versus outright liars. And you could deny the science, just like the Nevada test site studies. They're all out there, the government. All those guys died of leukemia. And you're going to denial about your nuclear fairy tale. SMR is going to save you in your denial. And when you get cancer and the doctor looks at you, and by the way, the big proponent of nuclear energy, they won't say the C word, has just died. The CEO of Exelon has died. But they're not going to tell you it was a sudden illness. Whatever you do, don't say the C word, all you pro-nukers. And you fools that say that doesn't cause cancer, that's exactly what you are, as a fool that needs to be thrown in his way. Oh, Gaylord was drinking freaking spent fuel water. Such a crock of shit. That's not a meltdown. That's not radioactive material, which has been poured into the sea. There's breakouts of cancer all over Japan. It's just like the monkey study that's out there. The evidence is right there. The real scientist, Kevin Blanch, has put it into your face every day, all day. Thousands of times the background levels of radioisotopes, their very own studies in your face. I presented them all. The monkey study. Monkeys don't get cancer. They don't get cancer. They don't get, unless you're in Japan post-2011. Then you get cancer. Here it is right in your face. All my work, I don't believe it. This is the greatest PhD in human history. And what have you, deny me? Their answers to kettle me illegally, viciously, high teams of trolls to viciously attack me while I'm in critical condition. Felonies in all 50 states, unless you're Obama, unless you're Trump, unless you're Biden administration. They crashed RadNet the day. Why do you think they just took RadNet down? Because Obama tells the second greatest lie in human history. On March 17th, the plume is not radioactive. It's coming over. When Cheryl Mills, his very aides, putting out the exact emails the same day that the plume is radioactive. They get leaked out. Who do you think put those into the internet? I've done the work of 1,000 actors. Why financially destroyed, socially destroyed. I mean, vicious, hire teams of trolls, dozens and dozens of YouTube sites and Facebook pages, in those early days. I mean, I had 3 radio shows. People came to me, claimed to be my friends, teed me up, slandered me, everything known to man. My own university turns their back. They could have paid for it. Here it is. Here it is right in your face. The monkey study in Japan, they're all getting leukemia. Monkeys don't get leukemia. Oh, they do now. The blob, I'm the guy that named it the blob. The first one said the heat dome over the western United States. The Great Western North American heat dome. I'm the guy that predicted it. I'm the guy that named it. The blob, you can physically see it. What caused the blob? The starvation event, the chain. Now, all my work being verified. All of it. This is, I just found this. And I'm like, oh, no, don't tell me they're going to draw the line at 2011. It's like I said, my own doctor. I never seen such a vision. There was a doctor in Seattle. A lot of people don't know this. She was doing YouTube videos about Fukushima. She was talking to me. This is early 2011, 2012-ish. Famous oncologist in Seattle. She got breast cancer. I remember she did a video and said that all her years as an oncologist, she was, in her 40s. She's been an oncologist for 20 years. She says all her years as an oncologist, she'd never seen anything so vicious and so aggressive as post-Fukushima. And she was saying, oh, can we correlate this with Fukushima? Come on. You're telling me there's no byproduct for 3 full-core meltdown, and they're still going to tell you that 1 in Chernobyl is worse than 3. Winston, 2 plus 2 is still fucking 4. They entombed it, went around it, including underneath it, a mining operation chip. What did they do at Fukushima? They lied to you. They didn't do anything. They lied to you. This is it's the biggest story. I can't even talk where I think the demic came from. I mean, all this, every single one, every day now, Kevin Blanch, they will tell you 10, 12 years from now, this is the greatest crime in human. None of us were able to take precautions. There's things we could have done. Stayed inside, like those emails said. Iodine tablets, they don't work, by the way, but, the tree situation, 2011, 2012. The heat dome, 2011, 2012. We count every salmon. ACUTE, we have all the data now. The whale starvation, the sea lion starvation, the seal starvation, the Muirs washing, all in symphony. It's an eco chain. Some kid walked up to the university and he saw me. He says, I used to watch your videos, He's studying biology now. And I says, well, it's, he says, yeah. Is this whole thing, we were talking about the salmon. Because he says, where'd you get that great shell? And I says, Oregon. It's my gold medal. Tim Martin made it for me. That guy with where I just put that. That guy made that for me. Tim Salmon Martin, the most famous salmon guide in Oregon. Just coincidence, huh? He's all over this. Like, we count every salmon. We're talking about the salmon, and he says, well, like you say, he says, this is not hard to fathom around your mind. Everything's connected. It's an eco chain, right? I got to show you this. Hang on. This is the USS Reagan, just another coincidence. How many of them are dead? That coat's got to be worth millions. I want to donate it to a museum, but God forbid the museums talk about Fukushima. Nobody could say the F word. They'll say, oh, this event was right. The wells and the starvation, it started acutely in 2012. The plankton went. Well, what took out the plankton? So you tell, global warming heating up. You tell me global warming started in 2011? Is that what you're saying? It started in 2011. Global warming started long before 2011. And in science, we call these outliers. That's heavy, high brass off the USS Reagan. Died of leukemia. You know how many of them? How about the USS Reagan case, all that work I did there? In vain? I don't know, man. When you get cancer, hand me your merit badge. We'll do more on this. Wow. Every single thing I said has been verified. I don't eat, sleep, drink this. I sleep with it. AML de novo with a marker of 44, unsurvivable. Alive and kicking, open heart. So this young woman, this kid that was going to help me and his dad, I walk in after I get the tire changed, get some food, and there they are. And said, I says, yeah, I got it. And he showed me the picture of his file. I'm like, oh my God. Is he okay? I don't know how. It off, just gashed his whole head, was so wide open. And this beautiful, incredible young woman. I'm like, she's like, yeah, he told me the story. He ran into you and said that you got a new pacemaker. Yeah, she says, so do I. You have a pacemaker? She says, I've had it since I was 10, 12 years old. I got a pacemaker when I was a teenager. I said, oh my God, what happened? She says, same thing as you. I said, cancer? Yeah. Are you from? Yeah. I got cancer as a 10-year-old girl. She says, see it? And I'm like, oh, you got a Utah smiley face. I said, you know what we call those in Europe? She says, what? And I says, Chernobyl necklace. I run into young women all the time with that Utah smiley face. She's like, no, the chemo took out my electrical system on my heart, so I have a pacemaker too. That's exactly what happened to me. The chemo took out I had a heart defect anyway. They couldn't operate. When they finally did it in 2017, I never felt like it worked. I'm telling them over and over, I kicked out Medicaid, Colado, Connors. I'm telling those guys, it ain't working as working. Talk about freaking malpractice. You know, I'm telling them right in their face, no, it's my valve. I come from valve. It's my valve. No, it's not. No, it's not. Eruption on Christmas Eve. Sure shit, 2 heart attacks. They were arguing with me. That's how tough I am, how strong. They're talking, well, we don't think it was it was a heart attack. They're going through my groin, they're exploring as well, and then finally, oh, there it is. You into shit right above the valve. Just like Goff tells me, he says, yeah, you're right. We got in there and it had all this stringy stuff in the valve, right? And I said, I told you. I don't know how you got it, but it ripped it out. So the 3 that come out of the top of the root, he says, I only could fix 2. One I had to seal off. I saw the tattoos on you. I knew your path, whatever. So I harvested it out of your leg to bypass it, the artery. I took, I have a cow valve, but I took human cadaver tissue, a piece of someone else's heart, and had to reconstruct it and build that. He calls it, Kevin Blanch, and he looked right at me and he says, you're right, that valve wasn't big enough. And you tell him, I says, well, you need to make it right so I don't have to sue you. They don't want to make it because, again, it's all about the fucking money, right? They think that their wealth is. He looked right at me and he says, I fixed it. And I says, well, the brilliant doctor is trained by my very own uncle. The brilliant. I said, if you fixed it, you fixed it. It's been a hell of a recovery from that. I was so weak. I'm all walking now. These are Hail Marys. I don't think anybody has a fucking clue what these acute cancers are like. She was talking about the type of thyroid cancer. She says extremely radically rare. Yeah, and I said the rare is not so rare anymore. Radioactive. I've proven it. That's a Fukushima worker cinema. There's all kinds of reports coming out of Japan right now. That's what's holding up the camera. Remember all that dog and pony show? Those are numbered cans from pre-Fukushima. I'm in the 1% study. That girl is too. Me and her talked about the 1% study. What's the odds of us running in together? And I know we're 1%ers. And I says, well, look at you. I'm like, my God. Just intelligent, dynamic, and just beautiful as it gets. She says, yeah, I'm so grateful. And, I said, I'm sure you think about your health every day. How could you not? She's a 1% survivor. You'd never guess by looking at her in a million years she had a pacemaker in there. We're connected now, I told her, literally, you and I, to a cell tower and a computer. Yeah. The number one common denominator of 1% survivors, with the studies about, is risk takers. And good with numbers, believe it or not. He stayed on his side. So here is the data. You can go into now. Could be the most important video I've ever done. Read it. They said that it was constant. The constant rate was constant until 2011, North America. That's called an outlier in science, just like the wells, just like the typos, just like the fires. The greatest outlier in human history. And anybody that says they're mystified, they're baffled, they're stumped, they're curious, they're alarmed, fucking is not even a liar. They're a criminal derelict. We don't do coincidences in science. First you hypothesize that these are full-blown out meltdowns. These suns are so fucking radically crazy hot. They're going to push into the Pacific Oceans a new energy unforeseen in the history of mankind, which I named Fukushima. It's going to freaking boil it. It's going to cook the oceans. It's going to cause a heat dome over the Western United States. It's going to break the fucking chain. And oh, did it. The greatest ecological catastrophe in fucking human, at least since Krakatoa. You know, even Vesuvius. I mean, Krakatoa coated the whole fucking earth. So did this. This reminds me of Krakatoa, but Krakatoa, you know, changed everything. Oh my God. This ain't going away. Because they never did anything. You can blame Obama. You can blame Trump. I asked Trump from here to there if he's going to talk about Fukushima. He met with a bee 17 times, including the sick as he's like, blacked out the windows of Mar-a-Lago. And he's your countercultures. He's no different than Obama covering it up. He's no different than Trump. The Fukushima, this is the greatest crime in human history. It just proves who pulls their strings, these puppets. The nuclear energy crime. And you want more. Oh my God. TikTok, Diablo Canyon Clock. You know, at least we got Sin and Effort shut down. Why? Incredible. Blanch's cancer did accomplish a lot. You know, I paid a hell of a fucking price. So, I mean, oh, did I pay out no money financially? To watch someone in critical condition being physically slandered and torn apart, calling every name in the fucking book, felonies and homicides, had to watch them do that to me, and nobody rallied around me. Nobody. I mean, I have 3 people that basically fund this, and everybody fled from me because it became political dogma to them and spin to them. You know, what was their agenda? Stole my radio shows. What was their agenda? I don't know. I guess they thought they were going to ride some coattails on me. I don't know. Were they paid? Well, we know that they were paid to slander me by the nuclear energy crime. But no one ever stepped up. No attorney, no IT, no. So I've had to organically just fight on my own. Nobody. What was that letter Steve Jobs wrote? Rob was one of my doctors in all this. He was one of Steve Jobs' doctors at the end. Remember that letter was circulated? Called himself an asshole, called him everything. He says, I could never pay anybody to fight cancer for me. I asked him, is that letter real? Because it's debatable to this day. You know, I was in the emergency room after the 3rd, 4th time being misdiagnosed. You know, this is, you got elevated Vuka. They scanned me the first night, and that quack at McKD, that emergency room quack, never even read the scan. Natalie, who was my radiologist, my neighbor I grew up, who's recently passed away, he never read the scan. This went on and on. Finally, I kept fighting with him, kept going back. It was a female doctor. Finally, she scanned me. I mean, she read the scan. She come back. I was watching the Isaacson interview about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs in his letters, if he wrote that letter, it's debatable. I couldn't pay anybody to fight cancer for me. He just went off ripping about the wealthy and the rich people and their arrogance and blah, blah, blah. Is that letter real? I asked Rob, what do you think? He says, yeah. I was there towards you. I think it's probably real, but I guess we'll never know, will we? But I was there. I don't eat, sleep, drink this. I literally sleep with this. She come in with tears in her eyes. She says, I'm so sorry, Miss Blanch, you're full of tumors. We're going to admit you. This guy, I mean, the quacks I see. This doctor come in with, because my little grandson and my daughter were so radically upset, and this nurse says, no, I'll bring in another bed. I want them to stay with you tonight. You know, this doctor coming in the morning, nothing's the matter with you, and just ripped, screaming and yelling at me, threw me out of the fucking room. If I ever see that guy, I'll do the time first. That fucking punk. You know, and here's my new little baby grandson with my daughter in there trying to comfort me and calm me down. Oh, nothing wrong with you. Sent me home. Fuck. They found me on the fucking floor in here, fucking dead, pretty well dead. You know, got me back up there again, checked me in. Fucking blamed it on, fucking quacks. Finally, Vincent stepped in and Fimbo and saved my life. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? I've seen the best doctors in the world, and I've seen the fucking worst. You know, but I've seen the worst of humanity. I mean, the worst of humanity. Fukushima exposes the great selfishness plague. Fukushima exposes the weakness and the cowardness. When I was in the bone marrow transplant center and I was head of the support group for so long, I watched it. Most people who go in those units die. They fight their ass off. Somebody has to sit with them when they die. They don't just juice them, you know. They give them morphine, whatever, but it's a slow, ugly process. I saw it, spouses, family members, over and over and over and on. I can't believe this is happening to me. I say, it's not happening to you. It's happening to your husband. It's happening to your wife. Go sit with them. They refuse to sit with them. They won't. I've done it. I've done it multiple times. Somebody has to be with them when they go. And it's brutal. I would have never believed. People, like I said, it's just too uncomfortable. I invited everybody into the bone marrow transplant for a field trip. Nobody gets to do that. Megan and Melissa went with me, the two massage therapists. Go talk to either one of them. So it changed their whole world. They just come out of there crying because it's a fucking brutal, brutal fight. This study's all about AML leukemia. And it's, 2011. Deny the fucking science. The greatest outlier, the greatest PhD. You fuckheads that went along that said, mystified, baffled, stumped, curious, alarmed, fucking denial. When the doctor, you get your turn, hand me your fucking merit badge. You're going to get your turn. Connor's a motherfucker. For I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I fear no evil. Stand tuned.